Anyway, it's been a minute since I've posted a vlog, and I don't know, man. I just kind of I've been doing other things, doing hip hop music and working and living a good life. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of pop in for a moment and share something that I thought was kind of cool and interesting that I saw on one of my Facebook news feeds, and somebody had just popped in and dropped some interesting information regarding how you could pinpoint a possible high-controlled, top-down authoritarian group. And mind you, these groups could have a religious template. They do not necessarily have to be churches or religious outfits. I mean, it could be some type of secular group. It could be even a political movement or group. But there are some characteristics that you can kind of pick up on that might lend you to come to the conclusion that you are involved in a group that could curtail your freedoms and could possibly reduce your quality of life. I'll just kind of go over some of these signs. Obviously, I'm looking at this from the perspective of a former Jehovah's Witness, and for those who like to bore themselves and look at my videos, I would imagine you also are ex-witnesses or have had some type of experience with the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, or Watchtower Bible and Crap Society, however you like to term it, phrase them. But anyway, here are the telltale signs. 10 warning signs of a potential unsafe group or leader. And number one, it mentions the group would be a group that would have absolute authoritarianism without meaningful accountability. So if the group doesn't give some type of means for accountability, then it could possibly create an environment of dictatorship, just complete tyranny, and no freedom of thought or independence will be allowed to be experienced by the members. I think when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I obviously, for current witnesses and ex-witnesses, you probably would agree that Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is a bit authoritarian. And I would say that in the last 10 years, that authoritarianism has probably increased. And I'm sure many of you might want to chime in or just kind of reflect on that, and you have to ascertain whether you think that's true or not. But there certainly isn't any accountability. I mean, come on, if you have an issue with something that's printed in the Watchtower, or you have some type of issue with something that you hear over the platform, be it at a meeting or a circuit assembly or a district convention, there's no real room for you to be critical of that information. And a perfect example of it is when many individuals found out that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society had a relationship for a number of years with the United Nations. There wasn't any real accountability there, and nobody could really say, hey, this is inappropriate. Number two, there's no tolerance for questions or critical inquiry. Especially as a Jehovah's Witness, if you have questions, real legitimate questions concerning doctrine, or maybe you just doubt and don't think the doctrine has any merit, that isn't allowed, it's not tolerated, and you're completely maligned, and you're disciplined and dealt with just for asking questions. And I'm certainly that probably has been your experience. I know that's been my experience with Jehovah's Witnesses and even other religious groups that I've had interactions with. Number three, no meaningful financial disclosure regarding the budget, expenses such as an independently audited financial statement. Come on, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society letting us know their financial condition and letting us take a peek at their book, their financial book. That's never going to happen. Not happening. I had a brief kind of peer into the financial world of the Watchtower hierarchy just by accident. At the time, I was the assistant cleaning overseer for the Circuit Assembly, and which was for some reason kind of a coveted position. A lot of the brothers thought that was admirable if you were in the cleaning department, cleaning toilets and sweeping floors and managing the cleaning of floors and sweeping and mopping bathrooms. Yeah, that's quite an assignment. And I was the head assistant cleaning secretary, which basically meant I was the head janitor. Yes! Got to wash those toilets, baby. Anyway, I was cleaning assistant, and for some reason, the cleaning assistant job typically was a job that was handled by an elder. And lo and behold, they saw my proficiency in cleaning and said, you know what? This ministerial servant is ready for the big times. Here, take care of the toilets. So I was the assistant cleaner. But anyway, one of the brothers at the attendance desk thought I was an elder. And you know, I don't know if you are aware of this, but at the circuit assemblies, they always have an elders business meeting. And this brother had just gotten out of the elders business meeting, and he confided in me some of his disquieting thoughts about some of the revelations in that business meeting. And he assumed that I was an elder, and so he poured out his heart to me. And of course, I had no problems listening to his disquieting thoughts. And he stated that, well, he said, hey man, they've upped the dollar requirement per publisher. They upped it about $10, which I didn't know there was a dollar requirement per publisher at circuit assemblies and district conventions. So that was a revelation for me. And brothers and sisters, I just want everyone listening out there, just want you to know there's a different world, a different perspective, a different experience of serving as a Jehovah's Witness when you are a rank and file member versus when you are in a position of responsibility as a ministerial servant or elder. As an elder, you're able to kind of look, see behind the curtain. You're able to see things that that rank and file members just don't see. And so that was interesting. So each publisher at a circuit assembly, district convention, there is an expected dollar amount that they want each publisher to donate and put in the contribution box to pay for the expenses of the meeting of the circuit assembly or district convention. Which, in our case, here where I'm at, the Circuit Assembly Hall is owned by the witnesses. They do have their own Circuit Assembly Hall, so it was kind of unusual. I didn't know what major expenses that we were racking up. So really, in reality, what it is they cut a check to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society's headquarters for each assembly district convention. So you can imagine the amount of money they're able to garner. So there, I was able to kind of get a peek in the financial back door for the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. But other than that, most witnesses don't know anything about the financial makeup of the organization. But the Watchtower Bible and Craft Society is a multi-million-dollar, non-for-profit, 501c3 religious organization. Number 4, unreasonable fear about the outside world, such as an impending catastrophe, evil conspiracies, this real negative perspective of the outside world or those who are not members of the group. Remember, we're discussing 10 warning signs of a potential unsafe group or leader. And so, yeah, obviously anyone that's not a witness, they're called worldly people, you know. And if you look at, think about any of the dramas of the district conventions, anyone who's not a witness in the district convention drama, the characters who are not witnesses are always bad people. And anyone who ever socializes with non-witnesses, typically, you know, they're being led away from Jehovah. But in reality, what you find is that really all of humanity, we all have a stake in our spiritual relationship with God, and there really isn't any room for isolationism, and it really isn't us versus them. But this is the mentality that is cultivated in the culture of many high control cult-like groups like Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, the Church of Scientology, Mormonism, and so forth. Another one here, number 5, There is no legitimate reason to leave. Former followers are always wrong in leaving, and there is a negative and evil connotation to deciding to leave the group. So if you leave the group as Jehovah's Witnesses, it's because you want to fornicate, it's because you want to live an immoral, debauched lifestyle, it's typically because supposedly you're leaving because you just don't want to serve Jehovah God anymore, you don't want anything to do with the Bible, it's because Satan the devil has got your mind. In the most recent Watchtower study article a couple of weeks ago, another reason that you leave is because you're mentally diseased. So anyway, leaving is always bad and negative and looked down upon. And of course, the ramifications for leaving, especially if your family, your friends, and your entire community is in the Watchtower organization, is tremendous. You lose a lot. So, just telling my family members just to be quiet here while I finish this vlog. All right, another telltale sign of a potentially unsafe group is there are records, books, new articles, television programs that document the abuses of the group. And of course, I don't really have to get too long-winded about that one. All you gotta do is do a Google search of Jehovah's Witnesses, and there is a copious amount of information that speaks critically of the group. Of course, Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that the reason there's so much negative press and negative information about Jehovah's Witnesses online and in the world at large is because the world's run by the devil, and of course Satan the devil is attacking Jehovah's Witnesses because they're God's true chosen people, which I don't disagree that Satan the devil has a heavy influence over this world. I still regard myself as a Christian. I do still look at the world through the lens of the biblical perspective. So I agree the devil runs this system, this world system there. I gotta use a Jehovah's Witness term. Man, I'm going to have to purge myself of that thinking. Anyway, the devil does run the world, and in many respects his influence is present. But the culmination of negative, or I should say critical information regarding Jehovah's Witnesses, the harmony of the testimony, the fact that there's so many people saying similar things, more than likely tends to lend one to draw the conclusion that there is some truth and some validation to these assertions from those who left the group or who are still affiliated. Number 7, there are records, book, I just said that one, sorry. Number 8, followers feel they can never be good enough. And if you're a witness, you know this is part of the culture. You never can get enough hours in the ministry. You never can place enough magazines or books, and you never can have enough Bible studies. So certainly that is the reality of Jehovah's Witnesses. And number 9, the group is always right. And so, of course, Watchtower Bible and Tract. It's really weird with what Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. One minute a witness will say that the Watchtower is run by imperfect men and that they're not infallible, but then on the other hand, the duality of the mindset of an average witness, the way they're programmed, on the other hand, they'll say that this is Jehovah God's organization, that this is his earthly channel of communication to humanity through the faithful and discreet slave class. And so therefore you have to listen and be patient and wait upon Jehovah. So one minute they're infallible and their organization run by imperfect men. The next minute they're Jehovah God's organization and his channel of communication never to be questioned. And if there's things that aren't quite right, you have to wait on Jehovah. See the absurd cognitive dissonance there and the lack of harmony in the psychological makeup of the average witness is mind-numbing, and it's very confusing for those who know about the world of being a witness. It's a very confusing world to live in. Two conflicting messages you're given there. Finally, the last warning sign is that the group leader or leader is the exclusive means of knowing truth or receiving validation. And so, duh, that's pretty obvious that Jehovah's Witnesses would coincide with that. Hence, when you're in the organization, many say you're in the truth. So, I'll just leave it on that note. I ran out of time. So there you go. Those are the 10 warning signs, just as a suggestion on helping you to determine whether you're involved in a high-controlled authoritarian group. Take care.